What is up, you guys? So yesterday after the bell, Tesla announced that it's going to be doing a 5-for-1 stock split. And now with this, as well as the possible inclusion to the S&P 500 and Tesla almost hitting $2,000 per share just a month ago, a lot of people are asking me, is Tesla a buy right now? So in this video, I'm going to go over the 5-to-1 stock split. We're going to talk a bit about the potential inclusion to the S&P 500 and really what is going to happen to Tesla short term. I'm not talking about long term here. Long term, I think Tesla is a phenomenal company. Yes, you're paying a hefty premium right now, and their future is still pretty uncertain, but I still love them long term. I still, I wouldn't even think about selling them or not buying them if you don't have them long term. I think they're a phenomenal company. But in this video, we're going to specifically talk about the short term. So here's the article by CNBC that was posted yesterday that says Tesla announces a 5-for-1 stock split. The split will go into effect after the close of trading on August 31st. Theoretically, the move could mean smaller investors could afford the stock, even though it would basically kind of be minuscule compared to these major institutions that currently own Tesla. Now, back in the day, stock splits were very common. For instance, a company like Boeing usually would split anytime it'd close over like $150, $200. And this is because we didn't have fractional sharing back then, right? You could buy fractional shares if you were in a dividend reinvestment plan, but if not, you couldn't go buying a fraction of a share. So say you had an IRA, or maybe you were building a long-term portfolio and you wanted to buy Tesla, you couldn't unless you could afford a whole share. Now, that's not a big deal now because, companies like Robinhood and other brokers are allowing you to buy fractional shares, but still, there are some companies. I'm a part of TD Ameritrade, and I believe that I can't buy fractional shares. Not 100%, but I believe I can't buy a fractional share, actually. So this could be pretty decent for some of those people. But the real reason that I think that they're doing this is a publicity stunt and also just to seem more relatable, right? We all know, if you've been in the market for a very long time, stock splits do nothing, right? If you have a stock that's $1,000 and they're doing a 5-to-1, you're just going to get 5 stocks that are worth $200 instead of 1 stock that's worth $1,000. It's pretty simple. But from a psychological level, right, it seems like normal, right? Because buying a share of, let's say, for instance, something like Small Direct Club seems a lot easier, seems a lot more accessible at $9.30 than maybe Amazon that's trading at $3,000, or maybe Tesla that's trading at $1,500. So when the price of the stock is lower, it kind of seems like the everyday man or woman could go out and buy shares of this instead of having to buy shares of a huge a huge price stock like 15, 16, 17, 18, maybe $2,000. And I know that investing, right, and trading too, it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. But for a lot of people psychologically, it's a pretty big deal. And I know for me, I've never bought fractional shares. Even if I could, I don't care. I like whole numbers. And I know, guys, it sounds stupid. It doesn't make any difference as far as your investment. But to people psychologically, which we know the markets is all psychological, it's a pretty big deal. Now, that's all I'm going to talk about as far as the split. As of August 31st, whatever the price of Tesla is, whether it's $1,000, $1,800, $2,000, whatever it is, we're going to see the stock will be split 5-to-1. And obviously the market really likes this. We can see it was up almost 20% at 20% at highs today. Did pull back a little bit. But still, technically here, we also have a bull flag pattern that's happening. So technically, I wouldn't be surprised if we pushed up to 1,800. Now let's quickly talk about the inclusion to the S&P 500. I didn't feel like I needed to make a whole video on the inclusion to the S&P 500 because it is important, but let's see here, right? They did have the 4th profitable quarter, which therefore makes them quote unquote eligible to be part of the S&P 500. And I believe the committee meets the 3rd Sunday of every month, which would be September. I want to say it's like the 18th. Yeah, Friday, September the 18th. And that's when the committee will decide, is Tesla going to be a part of the S&P 500? Now, just because they have met the threshold and the requirements doesn't mean that the committee has to put them in there. Now, I know 2 companies are definitely going to be kicked out. I forget which ones they are, but I was reading a couple days ago. I completely forget, but 2 are definitely going to be kicked out. I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla is a part of the S&P 500. It's a huge company. Everybody would want to own a piece of them if they're going to be owning SPY or any of these, different ETFs. I think that they'll be a part of the S&P 500. Do I think that because they'll be included in the S&P 500 that they're going to rip to the high heavens just because of that? No, I don't think so. A lot of people are going to say, well, these hedge funds are going to have to start buying because they have to have a certain balance within the portfolio, especially if this is going to be included in the S&P 500. And you're completely right. But now imagine if you're somebody who has, Tesla an average of 180, 190, 210, and you have 500, right? $500 million worth or $1 billion worth potentially. You can't just unload the stock whenever you want. There has to be huge amounts of volume in order for you to unload that. So maybe while all this buying from these hedge funds are happening, that person will start to sell some of it out because at this point they are up, 5 times, 10 times their investment? Like, that's insane. And the last thing that I want to talk about is going to be potential funding. Elon has huge plans for Tesla. They're building 3 gigafactories right now. They've talked about, I think, 3 other gigafactories that they want to do. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a time for Elon to start, making more shares public and trying to potentially acquire an extra $10 billion, which they could really go far with that money. Point is, if they're thinking about raising capital when your stock is at its highest, that is the time to do it. Because you can go out and sell shares to the public market. It will probably push the stock down in the short term, but it will raise a lot of money for Elon Musk and for Tesla. So let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, comment down below. Are you buying Tesla stock? Personally, I'm not buying right here. I just think that it's really trading at a premium. I do love the company long term. The 5-to-1 stock split is really nothing to me. I don't see any reason for it to be going up off of that, but you have to think we're at a weird time right now where we have a lot of retail investors out there. A lot of people who are getting their stimulus checks and putting it into like Tesla and Apple and Amazon. A lot of people who are getting unemployment checks and putting it in the market. We have a lot of retail investors out there. So we're almost at the point, not that they have as much control as these big hedge funds, but they can actually hold or push the stock price up. So we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. And until next time, guys, I'll see you.